Hello everyone, this is Muhammad Abdullah Mamun, a member of Group Organon. Today in this video, we are going to discuss on Aristotle. Our group members will discuss on some important facts of Aristotle, like his life and his works on ethics, logic, metaphysics, place of human and politics. Let's enjoy our video.
Hello everybody, today we are going to discuss about a famous ancient person who not only influenced ancient society but also modern society is greatly influenced by his work. Though the man was born before 2400 years ago, but he is still alive by his work that he had done by himself. He distinguishes himself from others and make a permanent place for himself. He is none but Aristotle, the greatest philosopher ever lived. Every sector of science and philosophy, he marked his footsteps. He is considered the father of geology. In 384 BC, Aristotle was born in a small town of Stygia on the northeast coast of Thrace. His father was a physician to the king of Macedonia. It could be that Aristotle's great interest in biology and science. His father died in his childhood. At the age of 17, his guardian Procescans sent him to Athens. There he studied directly at Plato's academy for about 20 years under Plato. On Plato's academy, during his tenure, Aristotle began to give lectures on linguistics. In 307 BC, after Plato's death, Aristotle was only eligible person for the head of the academy. But because of the vision of Aristotle's own philosophy with the Plato's philosophy, Plato's relative Speusippus was chosen as the head of the academy. Aristotle then received invitation of the Athenian ruler Hymenaeus. He stayed there 3 years and married the king's sister Pythias. In the next life, Aristotle married another woman called Harpylis. After being there for 3 years, Athenius occupied by the Persian emperor and Aristotle went to Miletus. For the next 5 years, Aristotle taught King Philip's 13-year son Alexander. After Philip's death, Alexander took control of the kingdom and Aristotle returned to Athens for the first time after the death of Plato and established his own school at Lyceum. There he spent the next 13 years preaching and teaching his philosophy. In 323 BC, Alexander's premature death overthrown by the Eastern Macedonian government of Athens. Aristotle then charged with religious credentials. To get rid of punishment, Aristotle quickly moved to Calcium. In the first year at Calais, he suffered by acute abdominal pain and died in 322 BC.
I am going to discuss Aristotle's ethics. Imagine a person who always knows what to say, who can diffuse a tense situation, deliver gracefully, is confident without being arrogant, brave but not reckless, generous but never extravagant. This is the type of person that everybody wants to be and to be like. This may sound like an impossible feat, but Aristotle believes that while rare, these people do exist. They are what we all should aspire to be virtuous. But what is virtuous? Aristotle said that having virtue just means doing the right thing at the right time, in the right way, in the right amount, toward the right people. Which sort of sound Aristotle is saying? Exactly nothing. I mean, how vague can you be? We can think of virtue as the midpoint between two extremes, which Aristotle called vices. Virtue is the right amount between the extremes of excess and the extreme of deficiency, and this midpoint is known as the golden mean. So let's take a look at some particular virtues. What is courage? For example, walking home from a movie, you see a person mugged. What is the courageous action for you to take? Your impulse might be say that a courageous person would run over there to stop the mugging, because here courage means putting yourself harm's way for a good cause, right? Well, no. According to Aristotle, courage is the midpoint between cowardice and rashness.
Hello everyone. Now it's the time for Aristotle's logic. Aristotle's influence was greatest in different fields, was greatest of all in logic. Till 13th century, Christian philosophers accorded him as supremacy in the field of metaphysics. It was largely lost after the Renaissance, but his supremacy in logic was survived. The most important work in logic is the doctrine of syllogism. Actually, syllogism is an argument consisting of three parts. Firstly, a major premise, then a minor premise, and the next one is a conclusion. This was the beginning of formal logic. It opens with three criticisms. First one is formal defects, then overestimation of syllogism, and the last one is overestimation of deduction. Syllogism is one kind of deductive argument. In logic, Plato was more inclined to use deductive reasoning. On the other hand, Aristotle used inductive reasoning. Inductive reasoning has also three parts. Firstly, specific, then specific, and finally generalization. And deduction also has three parts: generalization, specific, and conclusion. Now I will give some example of inductive reasoning and deductive reasoning. In induction, the specific term is the cardinal is a bird that flies, and then specific is Robin is a bird that flies. In generalization, all birds fly. On the other hand, in deduction, the part generalization is all birds fly. Then the cardinal is a bird. In conclusion, the cardinal is a bird that flies. Throughout modern times, particularly every advance in science, in logic, in philosophy has had to be made in the teeth of opposition of Aristotle's disciples.
Now I am going to discuss about Aristotle metaphysics. By the term metaphysics, we generally know beyond physical, but Aristotle means it in different. At first, Aristotle has given two theories. First one, the theory of ideas, and second one, theory of universal. In his theory of ideas, he has given the idea of third man. He has also given a diagram of third man. We see ideal man 1 in the top level, and then ideal man 2, and then man. Thus knowledge is distributed in this level. Another theory is universal, is quite simple. There are proper names and adjectives, then is called universal. Example, cat, dog, man. The next point, Aristotle says form and matter. For example, a marble statue where marble is the matter and a sculptor is the form who conferred the shape. Another example, a calm sea where is the matter and smoothness is form. What is signified by a proper name is called substance. There are three kinds of substances. First one, sensible and perishable, like plants and animals. Second one, sensible but not perishable, like heavenly bodies. Third one, neither sensible nor perishable, like rational soul in man and also God. He has also given the conception of an unmoved mover, which moves without being moved is a concept advanced by Aristotle as a primary cause or more mover of all the motion of universe. As is implicit in the name, the unmoved mover moves other things but is not itself moved by any pure action. In book 12 of his Metaphysics, Aristotle describes the unmoved mover as being perfectly beautiful, indivisible, and contemplating only the perfect contemplation, itself contemplating. According to Aristotle, there are four kinds of causes. First one is material, like marble of the statue. Second one is formal, essence of the statue to be produced. Third one is efficient, like contact of the chisel with the marble. And last one is final, like eat the sculptor.
Now I am going to discuss about Aristotle's place of human. There are three kinds of soul: vegetative soul, sensitive soul and rational soul. Vegetative soul belongs to plants, sensitive soul belongs to animals and rational soul belongs to human beings. Along with vegetative and sensitive soul, humans have rational soul also. From this rational soul comes human thought. Human thought is an intermediate between potentiality and actuality. Actuality comes from active intellect. Those persons have active intellect, we call them unmover, and it is immortal. Human is a mixture substance of body and soul. Without body, soul can't do its action and its organizing principle also dies. For all these extra qualities, we call human being rational, and in the entire life of human being, a good life is related to activity and involves rationality.
In Aristotle Politics, Aristotle discuss about many things of politics, but the most important things is state. Now I am discuss about the state. Aristotle says the state is creature of nature. Man is by a nature a political animal. Human nature and the state are so closely related. In another word, he says, he who is unable to live in society or who has no need because he is sufficient for himself must be either a beast or God. Now I am discuss about the classification of state. According to Aristotle, there are two classifications of state. One is pure state and another is corrupt state. When the rulers aimed at the good of the community of state, it is called pure state. When the rulers run the state for his own interest or the state becomes selfish, it is called corrupt state. According to Aristotle, pure state has three classifications. The first one is monarchy, the second one is aristocracy, and the third one is polity. On the other hand, according to Aristotle, corrupt state has three classifications. The first one is tyranny, the second one is oligarchy, and the third one is democracy. According to number and rulers, monarchy and tyranny are ruled by one, aristocracy and oligarchy are ruled by few, polity and democracy are ruled by many. Now I discuss monarchy and tyranny state. Monarchy: when a state is ruled by a single person and he runs the state for the welfare and betterment of the society, it is called monarchy. On the other hand, when a state is ruled by a single person and he runs the state for his own interest or the ruler becomes corrupt and selfish, it is called tyranny. Next one is aristocracy and oligarchy. Aristocracy and oligarchy are ruled by few. Aristocracy: when a state ruled by a few men and they run the state for the welfare of the society, it is called aristocracy. On the other hand, oligarchy: when the ruling groups become corrupt and ignorance the rules, the system, it is called oligarchy. And the third one is polity and democracy. Polity: they are ruled by many. Administration are elected representative of the people who run the state administration according to the will and desire of the people, it is called polity. Democracy: on the other hand, when the ruling class become corrupt and selfish, the polity converts into democracy.